The discovery. The sonar ping echoed through the darkness of the Mariana Trench, bouncing off ancient rock formations and returning to Dr. Nia Rhodes's research vessel with an unusual signature. She adjusted her holographic display, frowning at the readings that defied conventional explanation. The object resting 7 miles below the surface wasn't just another shipwreck, it was perfectly symmetrical, impossibly preserved, and emitting a faint energy signature that shouldn't exist at these depths. "Zara, run another scan," Nia commanded her ship's AI, her dark eyes fixed on the mysterious shape below. The vessel's advanced sensors hummed to life, painting a clearer picture of what lay in the darkness. "Scan complete, Doctor," Zara responded, her voice calm and precise. "The object appears to be approximately 300 meters in length, composed of unknown alloys. Energy signature remains constant but unusual. It doesn't match any known terrestrial or recorded extraterrestrial technologies." Nia pushed back from her console, her mind racing. After 15 years of deep-sea exploration, she thought she'd seen everything the ocean could hide. But this was different. The vessel's design suggested intelligence far beyond current human capability, yet it had been waiting here, undisturbed, for what could be centuries. "Contact the surface team," she said, already preparing her deep-sea exploration suit. "Tell them we're initiating first contact protocols." "Dr. Rhodes," Zara interjected, "the pressure at that depth is precisely why I developed the quantum-stabilized dive suit," Nia finished, checking the suit's seals. "We've tested it in simulation 100 times. It'll hold." As she suited up, Nia couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery would change everything. The world above was still reeling from humanity's first official contact with alien life 2 years ago, the arrival of the Meridian diplomatic fleet in Earth's orbit. But this suggested a much older presence on Earth, one that had gone unnoticed for far too long. The descent was eerily quiet, broken only by the steady hum of her suit's systems and Zara's periodic status updates. As Nia dropped deeper into the abyss, bioluminescent creatures scattered before her lights, creating a dance of living stars in the darkness. At 6,000 meters, she saw it. The submarine's hull gleamed with an otherworldly iridescence, despite centuries of exposure to the crushing depths. Its design was elegant yet alien, with curves and angles that seemed to defy physics itself. Approaching the vessel now, Nia reported, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Surface team, do you copy?" Static crackled through her comm system. At this depth, communication was spotty at best. She was effectively alone with whatever secrets this ancient craft held. As Nia drew closer, she noticed something extraordinary: the hull wasn't corroded or damaged. In fact, it looked almost alive, with subtle patterns flowing beneath its surface like liquid mercury. She reached out, her gloved hand hovering just above the strange material. "Zara, are you getting this?" she whispered, more to herself than her AI companion. The static in her comm system suddenly cleared, but instead of Zara's familiar voice, she heard something else, a harmonic resonance that seemed to vibrate through her very bones. The submarine's surface rippled beneath her touch, and a seam appeared where none had existed before. It wasn't just responding to her presence, it was inviting her in. Warning lights flashed across her suit's display as the vessel's energy signature spiked. Nia knew she should retreat, should wait for backup or at least better readings. But 15 years of scientific curiosity wouldn't let her turn back now. Beginning entry sequence, she announced to her suit's recorder. "If anyone finds this log, well, let's hope it's under good circumstances." The opening widened, revealing a perfectly preserved airlock. As Nia stepped inside, the outer door sealed behind her with a soft hiss. Water drained from the chamber with impossible speed, and for the first time in what must have been centuries, the submarine's interior was exposed to air. Nia's suit sensors reported breathable atmosphere, but she kept her helmet sealed. The corridor before her lit up with the same ethereal glow as the hull, revealing sleek walls covered in writing unlike any she'd ever seen. "Incredible," she breathed, reaching for her scanner. The symbols appear to be some form of living light, possibly bioluminescent or... Her voice trailed off as the writing began to move, flowing like water across the walls. It wasn't random movement, the symbols were rearranging themselves, transforming into something she could understand. "Welcome, Discoverer," the words read in perfect English. "We have waited 3,427 years for one who could awaken us." Nia's scientific mind raced with questions, but before she could voice any of them, a holographic figure materialized before her. It was humanoid but clearly artificial, its form composed of swirling points of light that mimicked the writing on the walls. "I am Nexus," the figure said, its voice resonating through her suit's systems. "The last guardian of the luminary legacy. And you, Dr. Nia Rhodes, have just initiated a sequence of events that will reshape your world's understanding of its place in the cosmos." Nia stood frozen, her mind struggling to process the implications. The submarine wasn't just a relic, it was alive, aware, and had been waiting specifically for human contact. But why? And how did it know her name? The answers, she suspected, would either elevate humanity to new heights or plunge them into depths far darker than the trench that had hidden this discovery for millennia. "Tell me everything," she said, her voice firm despite her racing heart. "Start from the beginning." Nexus's form shifted, creating a display of light that filled the corridor. "The beginning," it replied, with what almost sounded like amusement. "Very well. But remember, Doctor, some truths, once learned, cannot be unknown." As the submarine's lights dimmed and ancient memories began to play across its walls, Nia realized she'd crossed a point of no return. Humanity's understanding of its own history, and its future, was about to change forever. Echoes of the past. The holographic display enveloped Nia in a sea of stars, ancient constellations swimming before her eyes in configurations she'd never seen. Nexus's voice resonated through her suit, each word carrying the weight of millennia. "We were the luminaries," it began, "guardians of countless civilizations across the galaxy. This vessel, which you would call a submarine, was actually an emergency preservation unit, one of many scattered across promising worlds. The stars coalesced into images of beings made of pure energy, their forms shifting and flowing like liquid light. Our mission was to guide emerging species toward enlightenment, to prevent them from destroying themselves once they discovered quantum manipulation technology." Nia watched, transfixed, as scenes of ancient Earth appeared, civilizations rising and falling, each one approaching some crucial technological threshold before vanishing into obscurity. "You've been here all along," she whispered. "Watching us." "Observing," Nexus corrected. "Until now, humanity wasn't ready. Your recent contact with the Meridians proved you could handle the truth of extraterrestrial life. But they are young, like you. We are something else entirely." A warning klaxon blared through Nia's comm system, interrupting the historical display. "Dr. Rhodes," Zara's voice crackled through, "multiple vessels have entered Earth's atmosphere. They're not Meridian." The holographic display shifted, showing real-time images from orbital satellites. 7 ships, each larger than any human spacecraft, had taken up position around the planet. Their design was organic, almost predatory, with surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "The shadows," Nexus said, its tone darkening. "They've been hunting us for eons, destroying our preservation units wherever they find them. They believe younger species should either survive or perish on their own merits." "Why now?" Nia demanded, her mind racing. "Why show up right when we've made contact?" "Because they detected my awakening," Nexus replied. "The moment you touched the hull, it sent a quantum ripple through space-time. A signal they've been waiting centuries to detect." The submarine's interior hummed to life, systems activating in cascading sequences. Panels opened in the walls, revealing technology that made humanity's most advanced achievements look primitive by comparison. "Dr. Rhodes," Zara interrupted again, "the surface team is reporting global communications disruption." The unknown vessels are broadcasting some kind of interference pattern. Nia turned to Nexus, her expression hardening. You said we weren't ready before. Are we ready now? Because it seems like we don't have a choice anymore. The holographic being's form solidified, becoming more defined. No species is ever truly ready, Dr. Rhodes. But humanity has something the others lacked, adaptability. You don't just survive, you learn, evolve, overcome. It's why I chose to reveal myself to you specifically. What do you mean? Your quantum-stabilized dive suit. It shouldn't be possible with Earth's current technology level. Yet you created it, pushing beyond known physical limitations through sheer determination. That's the spark we've been waiting for. The submarine shuddered, its systems fully activating. Through the hull, Nia could feel the massive vessel beginning to move, defying the crushing pressure of the deep. The shadows will try to prevent what comes next, Nexus continued. They believe advanced technology should be earned, not given. But they don't understand, sometimes the greatest test is not in the discovery of knowledge, but in how one chooses to use it. And what exactly comes next? Nia asked, though part of her already knew the answer. Evolution, Nexus replied. This vessel contains the combined knowledge of 1,000 worlds, civilizations that rose and fell while humanity was still learning to make fire. The shadows fear what you might become with access to such knowledge. They're right to be afraid. Above them, the alien ships began their descent through Earth's atmosphere, their hulls blazing like falling stars. Humanity's first contact with the Meridians had been peaceful, diplomatic. This, Nia realized, would be anything but. We don't have much time, Nexus said. The knowledge transfer must begin now. But I must warn you, this isn't just information. The Luminary legacy is alive, a sentient database that will merge with your consciousness. Once started, the process cannot be stopped. Nia thought of her life's work, her search for truth in the ocean's depths. She thought of humanity, standing on the brink of either enlightenment or extinction. The choice seemed impossible, yet somehow already made. Do it, she said, removing her helmet despite her training screaming against it. The air tasted ancient, electric with possibility. Nexus's form expanded, surrounding her in a cocoon of light. Remember, Dr. Rhodes, knowledge is neither good nor evil. It is a tool, like any other. The difference lies in the heart of the wielder. As the light intensified, Nia felt her consciousness expanding, touching minds and memories that spanned galaxies and eons. The last thing she heard before the transfer began was Nexus's voice, almost gentle. Welcome to the true history of the universe, Dr. Rhodes. Try not to let it drive you mad. Seeds of revolution. The knowledge transfer felt like drowning in starlight. Millions of years of history, science, and memory cascaded through Nia's mind, each moment an eternity, each revelation threatening to overwhelm her sanity. But beneath the torrent of information, something else was happening, she was changing. The submarine's hull thrummed with power as it rose through the water, no longer bound by normal physics. Through her new connection to its systems, Nia could feel every molecule, every quantum fluctuation. The vessel wasn't just technology, it was an extension of consciousness itself. Surface breach in 30 seconds, Zara announced, her artificial voice seeming primitive now compared to the symphony of data flowing through Nia's enhanced mind. The shadows have deployed their first wave, Nexus reported, its form now appearing more solid, more present. 7 hunter-killer units, designed to neutralize luminary technology. They don't yet realize what we've done. Nia opened her eyes, which now shimmered with the same iridescent light as the submarine's hull. They're about to find out, she said, her voice carrying harmonics that hadn't existed before. The submarine burst from the ocean's surface like a leviathan of legend, water cascading off its gleaming hull. Through the vessel's sensors, Nia could see the shadow ships descending, their dark forms blotting out the sun. Dr. Rhodes, Zara cut in, the Meridian Embassy is broadcasting an emergency signal. The Galactic Council has convened an emergency session. They're demanding your immediate surrender. A hollow laugh escaped Nia's lips. The Council. Of course. Tell me, Nexus, how long have they known about the luminaries? They've suspected our existence, Nexus replied, but feared finding proof. The Council maintains power through careful regulation of technological advancement. Our presence threatens everything they've built. The first shadow ship opened fire, launching projectiles that bent space itself. Nia reached out with her new awareness, wrapping quantum fields around the submarine like layers of silk. The attacks dissolved harmlessly. They're not just afraid of the technology, she realized, sorting through centuries of hidden history. They're afraid of what it represents. Freedom from their control. Through her enhanced senses, Nia could feel the panic spreading across Earth. Military forces mobilizing, governments scrambling, the Meridian diplomats trying desperately to maintain order. Humanity's first taste of advanced warfare was about to begin, and they were woefully unprepared. We have to protect them, she said, extending the submarine's defensive field to cover major population centers. Show me how to fight back. The knowledge is already within you, Nexus responded. But remember, the shadows aren't the true enemy. They're merely the Council's enforcers, bound by laws written millennia ago. Nia nodded, understanding flowing through her like electricity. The submarine's weapons came online, not projectiles or energy beams, but something far more sophisticated, tools that could reshape reality itself. The shadow ships pressed their attack, their formations perfect, their technology devastating. But Nia moved like she'd been doing this for centuries, every defense precise, every counterattack calculated. The submarine danced through their barrage, its hull flickering with possibilities. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Zara announced. Council warships entering the system. Their weapons are primed. Good, Nia said, surprising herself with her own calm. Let them come. It's time they understood what they're really fighting against. The Council ships emerged from hyperspace, their designs a mix of organic and geometric perfection. At their center was a vessel that dwarfed all others, its surface adorned with symbols of authority that stretched back to the dawn of galactic civilization. A transmission cut through all frequencies, its signal impossible to ignore. This is High Chancellor Voss of the Galactic Council, a voice declared, its tone carrying millennia of assumed power. You have accessed forbidden technology and must be contained. Surrender now, and your species may yet survive. Nia felt Nexus's approval as she stepped forward, her consciousness extending through the submarine's communications array. Chancellor, she replied, her voice resonating with newfound power, I think it's time we discuss the real history of your council. The truth about the luminaries. The lies you've used to keep younger species in chains. You don't understand what you're dealing with, Voss warned, but there was fear beneath his authority now. No, Chancellor, Nia said, the submarine's hull beginning to pulse with blinding light. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Humanity isn't just another species for you to control. We're the key the luminaries have been waiting for. And we're about to change everything. The light from the submarine intensified, and for a moment, the entire battlefield froze. What happened next would reshape the galaxy forever. And Nia Rhodes, once a simple deep-sea researcher, now stood at the center of it all, wielding power that even the gods of old would have envied. The real war was about to begin. Quantum revolution. The ocean beneath the confrontation boiled with displaced energy as reality itself bent around the submarine. Nia stood within the command center, her consciousness spread across multiple dimensions of spacetime, watching as the Council fleet positioned itself for what they thought would be a simple containment operation. Their arrogance blinds them, Nexus observed, its form now perfectly aligned with Nia's enhanced perception. They'd forgotten why the luminaries created the preservation units in the first place. Nia nodded, feeling the weight of ancient memories. Not preservation of technology, she said, understanding flowing through her. Preservation of choice. The right of every species to determine their own path. The Council's flagship launched a barrage of quantum-tipped warheads, weapons designed to unravel the very fabric of space. But Nia saw them differently now, not as threats, but as possibilities. With a thought, she reached out through the submarine systems, turning the attacks into swirling vortexes of harmless light. Impossible, Chancellor Voss's voice crackled through the comms. That technology was sealed away eons ago. No single consciousness could control it. You never understood, Nia replied, her voice carrying through every ship in the fleet. The luminaries didn't lock away their technology because it was dangerous. They hid it because species like yours weren't ready for the truth, that consciousness itself is the ultimate technology. Through her expanded awareness, Nia could feel Earth's response to the battle above. Military forces remained on high alert, but there was something else growing, a sense of awe, of possibility. Humanity was watching their first true interstellar conflict, and instead of cowering, they were learning. The shadows are repositioning, Zara reported, her AI consciousness now linked seamlessly with Nia's enhanced mind. They're attempting to establish a quantum containment field. Nia smiled, understanding the futility of their effort. The submarine's hull began to shift, its material flowing like liquid starlight as it reconfigured itself. This wasn't just a vessel anymore, it was a key to unlocking humanity's true potential. Let me show you what the luminaries really created, she said, directing her words to both the Council and the watching world below. The submarine's transformation accelerated, its form expanding into a geometric pattern that defied traditional physics. Each line, each curve, told a story of civilizations risen and fallen, of knowledge preserved and waiting to be rediscovered. By the first light, one of the Council commanders gasped, "It's a Nexus gate." Chancellor Voss's voice turned desperate. "Stop this immediately." The balance of power was never balanced, Nia cut him off. You've kept younger species dependent on your technology, doling out advances like treats to obedient pets. The luminaries left us their legacy because they saw something different in humanity, not just the capacity to use their knowledge, but the wisdom to share it. The Nexus Gate's pattern reached completion, and reality rippled. Across Earth, every quantum-capable device, from the simplest computer to the most advanced research facility, suddenly pulsed with new energy. The luminaries' gift wasn't a weapon or a single piece of technology, it was access to the quantum foundation of the universe itself. "What have you done?" Voss demanded. "I've given humanity a choice," Nia replied. "The same choice the Council denied them. They can accept your restrictions, your carefully controlled progression, or they can reach for the stars on their own terms." The shadow ships launched a coordinated attack, but it was already too late. The quantum awakening was spreading, not just through machines, but through human minds. People across the globe were beginning to see, to understand, to grasp concepts that had been beyond their comprehension moments before. "Dr. Rhodes," Zara's voice held a note of wonder, "global communications are transforming. Quantum entanglement networks are forming spontaneously. Humans are adapting. Not just adapting, Nexus corrected. Evolving. As the luminaries knew they would." The Council fleet hung motionless, their weapons powered but useless against what was unfolding. This wasn't a battle they could win with force. The change was fundamental, irreversible. "You don't understand the chaos you've unleashed," Chancellor Voss made one final plea. "The other preserved worlds will have their own choices to make," Nia finished. "The age of the Council's absolute authority is over. A new era of true collaboration, of shared discovery, is beginning." As if to emphasize her words, the submarine's transformed structure pulsed with blinding light. Quantum corridors opened throughout the solar system, paths to distant stars now accessible to any who dared to explore them. "The Council can choose to be part of this new future," Nia offered, "or it can fade into history. But it can no longer control humanity's destiny. That belongs to us now." The shadow ships began to retreat, their dark forms disappearing into quantum space. The Council fleet remained, trapped between their ancient mandate and the dawning of a new reality they had fought so long to prevent. And on Earth, humanity took its first steps into an unlimited future, their minds awakening to possibilities that had been locked away for millennia. The revolution wasn't just political or technological, it was evolutionary, consciousness itself expanding beyond its former boundaries. Nia stood at the heart of it all, no longer entirely human but not quite transcended, a bridge between what was and what could be. The real challenge, she knew, was just beginning. Legacy of Light. The following days passed in a blur of quantum revelations. Earth's cities glowed with newly awakened technology, streets and buildings threaded with luminescent patterns as humanity embraced their expanded consciousness. The Council fleet remained in orbit, no longer as conquerors but as witnesses to an unprecedented transformation. Nia stood on the submarine's outer hull, now a platform of crystalline light suspended above the Pacific. The ocean below reflected the quantum corridors that stretched into space, turning the water into a mirror of possibilities. The integration is proceeding faster than anticipated, Nexus observed, its form now visible to anyone who looked up at the transformed vessel. Humanity's adaptive capability exceeds even the luminaries' predictions. Through her enhanced senses, Nia watched as people across the globe discovered their new abilities. Quantum understanding wasn't just changing technology, it was changing human nature itself. Children were being born with innate connections to the universal field, their minds naturally grasping concepts that had once seemed impossible. "We've received a formal request for dialogue," Zara announced. "The Council's inner circle wishes to meet. They're offering recognition of Earth's sovereignty and full diplomatic status." Nia allowed herself a small smile. "They're afraid," she said, not unkindly. "They should be. But not of us, of change itself." The submarine structure rippled, creating an audience chamber that merged physical and quantum space. Chancellor Voss appeared with his advisors, their forms both present and light-years distant, connected through the new networks humanity had inherited. "Dr. Rhodes," Voss began, his voice heavy with the weight of his position. "The Council has reconsidered its position. We recognize that the old ways cannot continue. But you're worried about chaos," Nia finished for him. "About what happens when every species claims the right to quantum advancement. The galaxy has existed in careful balance for millennia," one of the advisors argued. "Unlimited access to such power was always the luminaries' plan," Nexus interrupted. "Your council was meant to guide, not control. To nurture, not restrict. You forgot that purpose long ago." Nia stepped forward, her form shifting between physical and quantum states. "We're not interested in destroying what you've built," she said. "But it has to evolve. The preservation units weren't just hiding on Earth, they're on every world with the potential for quantum awareness. They're all awakening now, responding to the changes we've begun." The council members exchanged worried glances. "There will be conflict," Voss warned. "Not every species will handle such advancement peacefully." "Then we work together," Nia replied. "Not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. The luminaries left us their legacy because they saw a future where all conscious beings could reach their full potential. It's time to make that future real." As if in response to her words, new quantum signatures began appearing across the galaxy. Other preservation units activating, other species beginning their own journeys of discovery. The change couldn't be stopped now, it could only be guided. "The Shadows have requested asylum," Zara reported suddenly. "They say they were bound by ancient protocols. Without the Council's authority, they're free." "Everything changes," Nexus observed. "Even those who feared change most." Nia turned her attention back to Earth, to the billions of minds now reaching out to touch the quantum fabric of reality. Some were afraid, others excited, but all were adapting, growing, becoming more than they had been. "Your species continues to surprise us," Voss admitted. Perhaps this is why the luminaries chose you. They chose everyone, Nia corrected. We were just the first to be ready. The question now is, are you ready to help us build something new? The council members looked at each other, centuries of tradition weighing against the undeniable reality of change. Finally, Voss nodded. We will try, he said simply. The submarine structure pulsed one final time, its form settling into a permanent bridge between physical and quantum space. It would stand as a monument to humanity's transformation, a reminder of the moment when one species' discovery changed the course of galactic history. Nia felt the last pieces of her old self merging with her new consciousness. She wasn't just human anymore, but she hadn't lost her humanity. Instead, she had become something the luminaries had envisioned eons ago, a guide for a new age of discovery. The real work begins now, she said, looking out at the stars. Every species finding its own path, making its own choices. It won't be easy. Nothing worth doing ever is, Nexus replied. But for the first time in millennia, it will be free. As quantum corridors bloomed across the galaxy, connecting worlds and minds in ways the Council had never imagined, Nia Rhodes stood at the dawn of a new era. The legacy of the luminaries wasn't just knowledge or technology, it was the promise that every conscious being had the right to reach for the stars, to evolve, to become more than they were. The universe, vast and mysterious, waited to be explored not as a realm to be conquered, but as a garden of consciousness, ready to bloom in infinite ways. And humanity, no longer bound by artificial limitations, would help cultivate that garden, one awakening world at a time. The story of the space submarine was ending, but the story of the galaxy was just beginning anew.